And hopefully you guys got a little message on your screen that notifies you that I'm recording.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay, no worries. All right, so I'm going to share my screen. Give me a second. I have a lot going on in here. Don't we all? Okay. So let me just go one more. Hang on. There you go. Like, that's not me, is it? Okay, so we're going to, today for the Panopto, record your instructional videos and embed them into UB Learns. 4 things that we're hopefully going to be able to do by the end is record using Panopto tool, embed the video into your UB Learns course, change your Panopto permission settings. That's a big one because that seems to be a big, we see a lot of, I don't want to say issues, but that if somebody can't view your video, that's what you have to do is change the permission settings. That's usually something. I can't see your video. We'll hear from the students. We're going to learn how to create interactive video by incorporating comprehensive questions. So basically putting a quiz into UB Learns, or I'm sorry, into Panopto. Okay, so if you guys have already logged into Panopto, and I think Dorothy, you said you already have, I'm sure that Kathy has as well, but this is where you would go to find the Panopto. It's easy to find. You do need your UBIT information to log in. 2 things, this is kind of important. You need to have your course provisioned to with the UB Learns course to accept Panopto. So it's basically getting the 2 applications to talk to each other. And you do that through tools, Panopto content, configure, add course to your Panopto. And I will show you that at the end. We'll go into a UB Learns course and I'll kind of show you how to do that. It'll give you a nice error message if it doesn't work. So, and it'll help you with how to provision that. The second thing is making the Panopto tool application link accessible. So that's found underneath the course management on your left-hand navigation in your UB Learns course under the customization. And then there's tool availability. So if you're missing even not something other than a Panopto, that's where you could kind of go look to turn it on and to turn it off. And I'll show you that at the end. Okay, so Panopto, so you can use it to record your sessions and then share it out to the students. It's not meant for a live interaction, not like a Zoom conference. So a little bit different, but it's good to have your recordings. You can record yourself giving your presentation and and send that out to the students. So if you didn't already have Panopto downloaded, you need to have that onto your computer. And I think you guys already went through that procedure, but you would have need to have contacted UBIT, or in your case, Dorothy, Nick, to install onto your PC. So this is what you would kind of see if you were already trying to install it. You would go into record a new session. So you would go into open Panopto once it is installed. This is the kind of screen that you're going to see, and then we'll do this at the end. I'll bring up Panopto and we can kind of walk through the logistics of what's, you're going to see the video, the audio. You kind of tell Panopto which screen, which microphone, you kind of tell it exactly what you want to capture. If you're working with the PowerPoint, if you're working with the main screen, secondary screen, for example, I have 2 screens here, so I could tell it, look at the main screen or look at my secondary screen and pick up whatever I need it to. So recording setup for the video, you have your screen capture only, just slides or a video. On that particular one, we'll select none. I'll go through all of these when we get back into Panopto. The audio, again, you just select that. The quality portion, standard is by default what comes up, and that's a pretty safe bet to use. If you go to a higher resolution, it takes a little bit longer in Panopto to process the video. And if you've played around with any of that, you know that Panopto tends to take a little bit of time to process that video. So if you go to a higher resolution, it will take a little longer. So plan ahead. If you guys are planning on showing something later today or in an hour, make sure that you've given yourself enough time to record and have that video processed. And then the secondary source there, select which one you want your screen to capture. So you can kind of have different settings in there. We'll play around with that at the end. You'll have some things when you're actually recording Panopto. You can upload your own media. You can select your upload media, either drag and drop to browse for your video. Panopto will process the video and email you once it is ready and edit into your into Panopto itself, or I'm sorry, into UB Learns itself. So once you guys record a session and it processes the video, Panopto does, it will send you an email indicating that the video is ready to be uploaded. Okay, so moving over to the video editor, you would see a screen that looks something like this, and along the left-hand side, once you select your video that you want Panopto to be working with, you can do different things like captions, and we'll talk about that at the end of this PowerPoint presentation. You can select which slides, and then the next thing we'll talk about is quizzes. You can edit the video in the Panopto video editor. Things like cutting out portions of the video. You can't necessarily move things around. It's not a really robust editing tool, but you have some functionality in there. And you can also add a table of contents, which is kind of easy for the students to navigate through the final Panopto video. And I'll show you how to edit the video, but basically you'll see when you get to the video editor at the bottom of the screen, you'll see that it kind of looks like what you're looking at on my PowerPoint. It has a scissors icon, and that is already by default selected, which means that you're in edit mode, and you would literally take and drag and drop across that editing bar what you want cut out of that editing, out of that video. You would have to, you don't see it here, but there's a button at the top right, and I'll show you that for apply. So if you make some changes in that editing platform and you don't press that apply button, the changes don't stay. So that's something that kind of, I made these changes, how come it's not there? If you didn't press apply, it doesn't know to take those changes. So that's something that you can play around with as well. And I'll show you how to do that. And then in quiz, you're in your editing tool again. And then once you click into the editing area, wherever you want to add a quiz, you literally just click into that time frame. You can choose the quiz button. You can have 4 different types of quizzes. You have your true, false, your multiple choice, your multiple select, and your fill in the blank, and we'll work through all of those. You just tell it where you want it to be in that quiz, and then you start building the quiz right in the Panopto editor. Kind of easy to work with, but give yourself a little bit of time to play around with that as well. And then into your quiz results, you can actually have it so that your quiz works right with the gradebook in UB Learns. So underneath your video and your Panopto video, you would go to settings, and I'll kind of show you that. You can kind of see in my screenshot there. I'm trying to circle it there for you. You'll have that settings button. And then once you're in there, you can go into the quiz results and actually see how your students did. You can use that as, oh, looks like we need to cover this portion again, or it looks like we already know this information, let's move on. So you can use it as a kind of just-in-time teaching sort of component. It's kind of helpful. You can integrate it into UB Learns, like I mentioned. So underneath that, within your UB Learns course, you would go to the Assessments tab. Under that, Panopto quiz, and you'd have to enable the evaluation. So that's a kind of a big one too, if you want UB Learns and the Panopto quiz to talk to each other and it to appear into your gradebook. So that, again, I'll show you that at the end as well. So embedding your quiz, or embedding your Panopto, excuse me, underneath, within your UB Learns course, underneath the build content, you have an option there next to you see my blue arrow that reads Panopto Video Embed, and that will get you to select a video that you've already have recorded, something that you already have recorded. Underneath, within your UB Learns as well, if you're into an editor or into the content area, you have a mashup tool, and you can see there is right underneath the mashups drop down as a Panopto video. So just another way of embedding a video. So you can do it right within the tool, right in UB Learns, or you can do it and incorporate it into the gradebook as you want. So, and again, we will work with that, and I'll show you too. It just shows a little differently in UB Learns. Depends on what kind of look you're going for. We'll talk about that when we get all done. And then I mentioned quickly about the permissions. So if you guys are if you're inserting a Panopto video, make sure that you have the correct permissions set. That's where we'll have most of the questions come back to us saying that my students can't see the video. Why can't they see it? And this is why you would have to change their permissions so that they could actually see the video. And I'll show you how to do that as well. And I mentioned earlier about captioning. So Panopto automatically captions the video for you. Just be careful, take a look at those captioning, see exactly what it encoded for you or what it captioned, because sometimes it doesn't get the words exactly correct. Some of the, like for example, medical jargon, some of that it doesn't capture that exactly, so you can literally just go right in there and edit and make sure that what you want the students to see is exactly what you want them to be able to do. Okay, so that's it for my PowerPoint. So let me just scoot out of this one. And I'm going to scoot into a UB Learns course. So do I need to reshare? Can you guys see my UB Learns course? I think you can, can't you? Yes. Yes, thanks, John. Okay, so here is just a standard shell that we kind of had created so that I can kind of play around and show you how to do some things. So one of the first things that I need you guys to make sure that you have access to, hang on a second, underneath, remember I said on the left-hand navigation, you have the customization tab. So underneath course management, you'll see customization and the tool availability down here at the bottom. That's where you would go and give it a second. It'll pop up an alphabetical list of all of the different components that you guys can put into UB Learns. It's alphabetical, like I already mentioned. And scrolling on down here, you'll see things that read Panopto, course tool application, Panopto quiz, Panopto student video submission, the video button and the video embed, and the video link. So things that by default they're already on, but if for some reason you're course copying something over perhaps and you didn't have the settings already made from the original shell, this is where you would go ahead and make sure that it's available for your students. I made no changes, so I'm just going to try to cancel out of that screen. And then the next area I want to show you is again on the left hand side in your left navigation under the tools menu. And I'll click that. And over here, see here where it reads Panopto content on the right hand side. This is the error message that I was kind of telling you guys about. If you see this type of thing, this course is not provisioned with Panopto, just means that this is a brand new course. It's not ready to talk to Panopto. All I'm going to do here is click configure. You only have to do this one time. So once you do configure it and you move on and you configure it already, you're not going to have to do this again. Underneath this screen, you have add course to Panopto. Give it a second. It should pop up with who's your teaching assistants, the instructors, some just basics of the course. You don't have to change anything there. And then just return to your course. So second option there. So I'm not going to have to make any changes going on there. Return to the course. And now I'm ready to start playing with Panopto and getting Panopto to work within my course. So far, so good. So that's two things that just double check your customization. Make sure that you have your tool availability selected, and also make sure that underneath tools that you have Panopto provision to work with your course. Okay, so once that's done, are we good so far? Any questions? Do you need me to go over anything from that point, or you guys are good?
Good.
Good. Okay, thank you. All right, so within a course document area, and this you can kind of build the Panopto wherever you want to. So I just clicked on course documents in this course shell that I have. And then underneath this build content, and you'll see that if you click onto the build content, you have here Panopto video embed. Do you see that in the lower, the right-hand column of that drop down? And go ahead and I click onto that. And it should bring me over to Panopto. Because now I've had the two, I have Panopto talking to this course. So it should be able to find my videos, exactly what I've been working with, where I have them saved. If you guys are already recording Panopto, make sure you save it into a course like this, like it'll pick up, make sure that the headings, so that you can find it easily, you can easily navigate to the course that you're trying to find. Let's see, so here I'll just do my folder, for example. I was kind of playing around with this earlier, so what I'm doing here is I'm just kind of taking a video I've already created. What I did is I went to this drop down. You just navigate over to whatever class you're looking for. And again, I just was playing earlier. So here I'm going to take week 8, for example. I'm going to go ahead and select that video, and in the lower right, you're going to insert the video. Give it a second, and that's what it's going to kind of look like. It literally brings a screenshot or a snapshot of that class in that Panopto video into your course. Like anything that you add to UB Learns, you always have these options to make it available, make it unavailable. You can set it so it's released or adaptive released at a certain time. They can view it at a certain time. You can track the statistics. Some professors want to know, how do I know that my students are watching the video? You can do that here underneath the tracking on and off. And then one last thing, if I click onto the, sorry, I'm going to close that. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I just click the video. It should start automatically. And slowly, but it should. There you go. I've already put a quiz in here, so I'm going to kind of show you that next. And I'm going to scoot out of here just so that you guys can see how to build a quiz. Give me a second. Do I need to reshare? Let me just make sure that you guys can see what you're looking at. Okay. All right, so I'm looking in my Panopto folder itself. So what I did is I went right over to Panopto. I'm taking a look at all of the videos that I have available to me. When you guys are creating your Panoptos, again, just make sure that you're saving it into a spot that you can easily find. If you had it labeled with the course name, that would be ideal. That makes sense, because then you can easily find it there. The way that you can edit this is, let me kind of show you here. Let me back up for a second. You can actually, right from your Panopto screen, you can start to record a new session if you need to. This is, for example, if I already have a session or I already have a Panopto video created, what I can do here is I can go to the edit button. Do you guys see those different settings that I have here? Because this has been shared with me, I can kind of make some changes with it, and I have some permissions to do that. If you guys have a shared Panopto video, sometimes it won't let you make the changes, so just be careful if you don't have those options underneath your videos. You know that you can't make changes to that video. So this particular one, I've already created kind of 3 quizzes just so you can kind of see how to do it. And the way that you do that is, remember I said into your video editor, you kind of see, you just click onto a spot where you think that the video makes sense, or a quiz makes sense, excuse me. I'm going to try to find one that I don't have a quiz in there, because I already built one there. So here I don't have a quiz there, and what I can do is I come on over here to the left-hand navigations. All I did is I clicked onto a spot in my video video editing tool where I want to insert a quiz. I can come here on the left-hand side and go to quizzes. And you should see that it's not grayed out, the add a quiz button. Can you see that? And if I click onto that, give it a second, it should pop into different types of quizzes that you can build. Remember I mentioned that you have your true false, your multiple choice, your multiple select, and your fill in the blank. So for example, here I can just go ahead and put question is, it's not really, dogs or cats? And then you would just start building and start placing your answers. You can obviously, I'm just kind of being silly here, but here I'll click done, for example. Let's see, now I'm going to make sure that I like dogs there. I'm going to go ahead and finish. And then here you have some options as far as what you can do with the quiz. You can allow the viewers to retake the quiz, so you can lock it down so that they can only do it one time. Show the grade after taking the quiz. You'll see it when we take it. It'll actually show us a little radio button that shows us that we've completed that quiz. Allow review of correct answers and explanations, and then block advancing in the video until answering this question or this quiz. So what I do is I'm not going to make any changes to that. You can also change the position of the quiz as well up here and the timing. And then I would just click finish. It's literally inserted into, here you go. I kind of put some questions in there already. So for example, give it a second. There you go. So I made one already. So I prefer teaching online as opposed to face-to-face. I have a true or false going on in there. You can do a multiple, hang on a second, there you go, a fill in the blank. This gives you, when the question comes in here, let me just build one real quick. There you go. Sorry, I had to get to a spot where I wasn't already. Just showing you this the fill in the blank one real quick, because there's a little bit of, see that language? Fill in the underscore blanks with a hard caret symbol there, and then the blanks underscore. So you're going to need to, what, summer sports, for example. Sorry. Typing on the fly. Do you like something like this? And then you're kind of programming as what you are, sport, hard, oh, sorry. There, and then sports underscore. And then you can kind of see at the bottom that it's actually starting to build that for me, if you see how to program that. So it's a little bit of that language, but it gives you an example of how to do that. And over to the right-hand side, you have this little information button. And if you hover over top of that, it kind of helps you out with how to work and how to create that language. Okay, so let's see. There you go. I made one with a multiple choice. What is your favorite season? Summer, spring, winter, or fall? And then you could kind of just have the students answer as they're playing the Panopto video. What else can I show you on this one? So captioning is another thing that we kind of talked about. So import the captions. I can go ahead and import automatic captions. It's taking a look at the video. You can kind of see here. This is just a pre-recorded, nothing that's too fancy, and it was just an example that I had made. And then you can kind of come in here and just make sure that it's reading exactly how you want it to read. Again, medical jargon, it picks up kind of some of those as well. Make sure it's picking up the right medical jargon. If you're editing something out of the video, see here down at the bottom, you have your scissors icons already selected. And the way that you do that is you're just clicking into the editing tool where you want the video cut. All you're doing is dragging and dropping, and you can kind of see that gray bar, that gray sectioned out area. That would say delete that portion of the video from my final Panopto video. Remember, I showed you up here is apply, up in the upper right. If you guys don't click apply, it's not going to take those changes. If I click apply, it goes back through a processing. It will go back through to reprocess the Panopto video. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to revert out, and that's fine. Just so, but make sure you click apply if you're going to use that. Okay, what else can I show you guys? The captions, I showed you how to create the quiz. What else is there that I can help you guys with? Let's see, John, let's see, best practices recording on the platform, photography. Okay, thank you, John. Or no, that was Jessica, sorry. Thanks, Jess. All right, do you guys have you guys played with Panopto, and have you had success and not success? Anything I can help you with? When you guys are in the Panopto itself, the editing tool, you can come right in here and edit as well. So you can kind of grab it two different ways. It's sort of like a Microsoft product where you can get into things multiple different ways, and you can edit right in there as well. Oh, there you go. John says rev.com to professionally get your captions done cheap. All right. Yeah, definitely. You gotta, Panopto's one of those tricky ones where you just have to play with it and see what you guys are getting. One of the things that came out of a meeting we were in on Friday, that some people were having trouble with the Zoom and doing the live conferencing, but you could actually record yourself in Zoom giving the lesson and then share the recorded Zoom out to them. I don't know if that's could be another option besides using a Panopto. He can't do as much, like as far as the polling and the quizzing and or the quizzes, like that type of thing. But it's another option that might help you as well. So make sure that you've saved your videos in the correct folders. Make sure that the permission settings, and the way you do that is underneath the settings button within the Panopto editing tool. Underneath the settings, give me a second. Underneath here, you can kind of see that there's some quiz results that I can take a look at. The share option here, the second one down, that's where you would go to change those permission settings. So that's kind of a big one. I mean, you can give it to certain people. You can say somebody or anyone within your organization within link, anyone at your organization, or anyone with the link itself. I would stay away from that last one, the public on the web. It's just I mean, you can try it, but I would stay away from that one. I would do the top three myself. So that's usually something that the students can't see. That's a big one. Making sure that the class is provisioned and that the captions are accurate. Quiz results you can find here. I don't think I have any quizzes. I haven't submitted any answers, so you're not seeing it, but you would see the results there. Okay, so what does that look like when you guys are actually in a Panopto course? Let me take a look at that. Hang on a second. Do you hear my kids fighting in the background? Hopefully you don't. Hopefully you don't. Okay, let me just come here. Oh, you know what? I didn't tell you this one as well. Sorry. So underneath the, can you guys see my UB Learns course again? Yes, thank you. So underneath the assessments option, this drop-down arrow, you also have this option here for Panopto quiz, just a different way of getting the Panopto quiz in there. So you can, I'll call it test, Panopto quiz. I've already played with that. Somebody's at the door. This is where if you want the quiz to be able to be entered into the gradebook, or you want the gradebook to be able to see it. So you need to enable the evaluation. You would have to give it a point system. Do you want it visible to the students? And maybe you want the quiz to only be opened for a certain amount, or you have a due date that you're putting onto the quiz. We can permit the users to view the content, and then that's where you would restrict how long you want the quiz to be open. I'll just submit that. I'll keep that for a second. And it's always down at the bottom, and always enter something at the bottom. So in here, if I click on testing Panopto quiz, just for example, and it's going to go into Panopto, I have to find my video using the drop down. I'll just kind of pick my folder here again, and I'll take that one because I was playing with that. I already have a quiz in that, so I can share that with you. Okay, so that's just another way of getting the quiz into Panopto as well. All right, what else can I help you with? Miss Joanna showed up. Hello, Miss Joanna. Anything else that I can help you with? Do you guys have any questions?
Nope.
Thanks, John.
It's actually a more robust program than I thought it was. I
Is
mean, I,
it?
I knew a lot of the basics, but I had no idea about quizzes and all that stuff.
You can do it because you can take that Panopto quiz, but just engage the student a little bit more. I know I worked with some people at the medical school and they already had their Panopto quizzes and they're saying, but what do you do with it? And I said, well, put a quiz in there, engage the student a little bit more and have them answer that before they can finish watching the video. If you're creating your Panopto videos, I wouldn't do a super long 45-minute lecture. I would kind of break it into chunks because I don't think that those students aren't going to watch. I don't think they're going to watch a 45-minute lecture to the point of intent that you were first aiming, meaning that if you didn't put a quiz or you didn't have them do something along with just watching the video, they tend to tune out after a while. So I think that putting the video in there, keeping them nice and short, or I'm sorry, putting the quiz in there, keeping the videos nice and short tends to engage the student a little bit more. So it's a nice tool that can kind of help you with assessing your students.
So is that why I would embed a quiz in the video as opposed to just having them watch the video and then creating a quiz in UB Learns?
You could do it both ways. UB Learns will keep track of if you put scoring on it and you want grading to be on that. It could keep track there, or you could do it in Panopto and then you can have it saved and see the statistics on there. Two ways of doing the exact same thing. I think when you're watching a video, having them do something other than sitting there watching a video, they tend to be a little bit more engaged, and we've seen that. So, and that kind of saves them from clicking here and there. Watch this video and then click here. So it just keeps all in one spot.
Very good.
Very good. There you go. So, yep. Good. All right. Well, I will save this recording. I will send it out to you guys. And if there's any questions, you know that we're here at CEI and we can help you out. And if there's something more, we have 4 more sessions this week on various topics. So feel free to kind of come in on that, and hopefully we'll take that e-learning to the next level. All righty, good. Thank you. Okay. I'll count to 10. If you guys don't have more questions, then I'm gonna end. All righty.
Hi, Max.
Hi, Miss Joanna. How are ya?
Good, how are you?
I'm well.
I was thinking that...
Hang on, this is still recording, so give me a second to stop recording. Hang on, stop share. Hang on, and stop recording. Are you sure?